Yo, what up guys, Tash here, and I've actually got a pretty interesting video today. So I've been wanting to make another video like this for a little while now because my last video that you guys saw was pretty all over the place, messy, and I was very sick. So I'll try to keep this video short, but I actually just wanted to be out on location where I might have just hidden a cache or not, and just pretty much explain all the geocaching terms, because I know a lot of you get overwhelmed when you first start out geocaching, you don't know what it's all about. I'm just above car level, so when people drive past they just see this head poking out, they're probably thinking, is she okay? What is she doing? Welcome to the world of geocaching. Basically a lot of it is out in the bush, basically where we are right now. We're on a pretty steady slope, a pretty steady slope. Wow, that's a tongue twister. Basically a geocache is where someone hides a container with a logbook in it, which you can sign when you find it. And basically how you find it is you go out with coordinates and you go to a place and you try and find where it's located. So people can hide it in bushland, they can hide it in suburban areas, they can pretty much hide it anywhere they want if it's safe. So basically the coordinates, you can either use the geocaching app on your phone or basically like a GPS unit, which is what I've got here. I've got just a little Magellan or Magellan, I never know how to say it. So that comes in handy when you're placing geocaches. When you sign on to the app, there's two types of members, which is just a basic member, which you can find a lot of the caches that people have hidden, but there's also a premium member where you pay it's probably about $30 for a year, which is pretty incredible for what this is, and you get to basically find every single geocache anywhere. We're just going to basically start out with what types of caches there are. So there's a traditional one where it's basically just a container with coordinates, you go find it. Multi-cache is basically where you go find one geocache and it has clues to go to the next geocache, and that geocache has clues to the next one, and then you can basically say you found a series of multi-caches. Mystery and puzzle caches are pretty much the same, and basically you have to try and solve it and figure out where it is and it'll lead you to it. So you've got earth caches where basically it's not a geocache at all. It's basically you just find out facts about the earth, or and there's plaques and stuff that people get clues off of. Then they can talk to the CO and see if they've got it right, and then they can earn themselves an earth cache. Now a huge one is letterboxing. Basically this was around before geocaching even started. It's basically people put clues places to basically go find this huge geocache. Basically when they find it, they have their own logbook instead of just the logbook in the cache, and they have a stamp in the letterbox and also their own stamp. So basically they stamp the one from the letterbox in their own logbook and the one from their logbook into the logbook that's located in the letterbox. They'll still have the clues for the letterboxing that you can find, or they'll just have the coordinates for the geocaches that don't even want to bother with the clues, which I think is pretty cool because it's coming together. So basically there's event caches, so maybe if caches are too hard to find, someone will create an event and then heaps of people go along at once and go together and find it all together and help out, which is pretty cool. And then one that I actually found out about the other day, which I thought was insane, is webcam caches. So basically you go to a spot with a webcam, you stand in front of it, and then you look yourself up online and say, look, I found it, which I thought was really insane, but I don't think there's any in Brisbane or in the vicinity of where I am at all. I think it's basically in America because I don't know if there are any in Australia. So let's talk about the types of caches that you can put. There's a micro, which is small, and then there's nano, which is going to be even smaller. Then you've got ammo cans where they're going to be, I'm thinking of that word, camouflage. So ammo cans are going to be camouflage. And you might see around LPC, which is basically lamppost cache, which I haven't had a chance to find yet, but I will want to so bad soon. These are need to know terms. Ready? A muggle. A muggle is someone who doesn't know what a geocache is, takes a container and ruins the game for everyone. We do not like muggles. They don't know that. And basically a form of that is muggled when they take the cache. Basically means you need to be stealth. And then there's F to F, which means first to find. And then there's STF, second to find. So basically a first person that gets to find the cache, the second one they'll say that. A GC code is basically the geocache that's placed. They'll always have a certain code to them. There's things called travel bugs, trackables, and basically you can put them in a geocache and people can take them all over the world. People pick them up with them when they go, and they can go across overseas with them because they have a destination that they're going to. So once you pick one of them up, you say you've got it, where you're taking it, and where you've dropped it. Basically, the one thing you need to know of Signal. Signal is the Geocaching Frog. It's basically the mascot for geocaching. He travels all over the world. He's a pretty cool guy. Swag, stuff we all get, is basically what you put in your geocache or like what people trade in your geocache. Now here are ones that you might see when you find a geocache, what people put. So there's TFTC, which means thanks for the cache. TFTH, thanks for the hide. TNLN, took nothing, left nothing. TNSL, took nothing, signed log. TOTT, tools of the trade. So basically, that's why sometimes people create the event caches, because people don't have the correct tools of the trade to use to get the geocache. CITO, which means cash in, trash out. Basically, so if you're at a geocache and you find some rubbish, pick it up, put it in a bin. Usually there's heaps of events that go on year round for that kind of thing as well, which is pretty amazing. BYOP, which means bring your own pen, because basically the cache will be too small to put a pen in, or someone stolen the pen and no one's left another one there. People who say they've reached GZ basically means ground zero, which means where the location is for your geocache. DNF is basically did not find, which is the worst possible thing that can happen, but sometimes it's because it's been muggled. And I think that's pretty much it. I got all these terms just off the geocaching website anyway, so I'm just going to link that down below. And just guys, subscribe and like to this video. Got a couple more coming, and also I've got a pretty exciting little adventure planned. So I'll see you in the new year. Bye.